ברוכים הבאים לפרק השלישי של פודקאסט ה-110. בפרק הזה אני מארח את מייק קופמן, שמוכר גם כאוברטיים מייקי או בטר באונס. מייקי, שחקן כדורסל מקצועי לשעבר, שיחק 4 שנים בקולג' שנקרא לסלי, ומשם עבר לשחק במכבי הוד השרון ואליצור אשקלון. היום מייקי הוא מנהל התוכן של אוברטיים, חברת המדיה כדורסל הגדולה בעולם, והמייסד של תוכנית האימונים שנקראת בטר באונס. בפרק הזה מייקי ישתף אותנו בחוויות ממהלך הקריירה שלו, על סיפורים על אנשים שיצאו לפגוש במהלך שנים, ועל דעות אישיות שלו. אל תשכחו לעקוב אחרינו ביוטיוב ולהפעיל את הפעמון כדי שלא תפספסו את הפרקים הבאים. מקווה שתהנו, בואו נתחיל. Welcome back to the 110% podcast, and today I'm joined by the great Mike Kaufman, aka Overtime Mikey.
Guys, happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. So I wanted to ask you, at what age did you start playing basketball?
Started playing basketball around like 8 years old, but didn't really start taking it serious till I was like 9 or 10, and then just haven't put the ball down since.
Yeah. Where was the first organized basketball team you played in?
It was just like a little youth team, recreational team here in South Florida. Very, very low level. And I wasn't very good that first year, but I fell in love with the sport. I was lucky that I had a basketball hoop in my driveway, and I would just be out there every single day getting better.
So, jumping to college, you played at Leslie 4 years, right?
Yeah, I played at Leslie for 4 years.
And you had some pretty crazy game over there. You had a game where you set the record for 8 3-pointers a game, right? Can you you remember that game?
Of course. Yeah, it was my sophomore year. We played against Southern Vermont College, and yeah, I was just feeling it. They were in a zone, and I just caught fire. It's like one of those games, like you make your first three, you make your second three, you make your third three, and then you're just kind of in a zone. And yeah, I finished the game 8 for 10 from three. Which is 8 threes in a game. It's a school record for most threes made. But yeah, definitely a big breakout game for me early in my college career.
You had like another record where you had 44% from 3-point line. Was that a school record or the league record?
That's my school record, but I definitely finished top in the conference for 3-point percentage that year, and I definitely was like top in the country too. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, 44%. And my other years, I was always close to that 40% mark for 3-point shooting. Something I'm proud of for sure.
So you went from college to playing pro basketball in Israel at Hod Sharon, right? What was like the main thing that you did between college and pro basketball at like international league in Israel? What prepared you for?
Physically, the whole summer in between college and going over to Israel, I was doing 2 workouts like every single day, weight room, I started eating better, doing tons of skill work, trying to really improve my ball handling to be more of like a combo guard, be able to play that point guard position that I didn't play as much in college because I knew I was kind of undersized, tall. And I knew, when you play pro, like a lot of shooting guards or wings, they're 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". So I knew I'd probably have to play some more point guards. So I really was just preparing for that. I hadn't played a lot of pick and rolls in college or even in high school. So and there was just a lot of things. The way the style of play is just so different. So I would say I wasn't really prepared for that. I didn't really have anyone teaching me, those styles of play. But,
when you came,
everything that I knew, I was prepared as good as I could be.
Yeah. When you came to Israel, you had like a culture shock when you came here. You had like a moment where you said, "I'm far from home." Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think it was just like waking up, looking at Google Maps, and just like seeing where I am. I'm like, oh man, like I'm very far from home. Like I'm in the Middle East. Like Egypt's right here, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria. Like, this is crazy that I'm waking up here. And then, you know, like, I remember I was in Tel Aviv, and I would just walk around. I loved exploring the city, and I was like, wow. And still to this day, Tel Aviv is my favorite city. I try to get back there whenever I can. Um, but but yeah, it was definitely a culture shock. You know,
Mhm.
everyone speaks English, so it's definitely like an easy city
Yeah.
to live in as an American. But at the same time, like when you're playing, 80%, 85% of my teammates were Israeli. My coach was Israeli, so
Yeah.
they would speak to each other in Hebrew. So
It's
a
a
lot of
different dynamic.
times, yeah, it's a different dynamic. So a lot of times, you know, you're in the car, you're on the train with your teammates, and like, they're speaking in Hebrew. You can't really understand. So it definitely was a unique experience for me being a foreigner in another country. Definitely a positive experience for me, and I think it's really helped me a lot, in this next chapter of my life for sure.
Did you, in your time in Israel, did you learn a few words in Hebrew? Like you have some word that you know?
Yeah, אני מדבר עברית קצת.
Okay, right. Well,
Yeah,
that,
like if I'm like listening to people speaking Hebrew, like I can
mhm,
pick out a word here and there and kind of have a sense of like what they're talking about.
mm.
I could definitely count a little bit. I tried to learn as much as I could. So I definitely would like to learn more, but I didn't live there quite long enough to really
Yeah.
grasp the language.
In in your career, you played in a lot of countries, a lot of courts, a lot of teams. What was the place that you remember the most? Like you had the most fun playing?
Yeah. I mean, it's complicated. Like, Israel, I had a lot of ups and downs. I wasn't playing as much as I wanted to. Um, but it was such a cool experience, and it's definitely really memorable.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't really have like a breakout game or anything, because I really didn't get the opportunity.
Mhm.
But I mean, that was definitely like, the fact that, I got paid to play basketball, I got to travel the world, that was definitely the best basketball experience for me and life experience. But yeah, I mean, in college, I got to play more and show what I could do. So definitely some of those breakout games I had in college. My senior year, I think I had like 5 20-point games or 20 plus point games. Like just kind of being in that zone where at any given night, I knew I could hit like 5 threes in a game or more. Probably on the court, that felt the best. Um, but yeah.
What was like? Did you had a moment where you felt like you wanted to quit basketball and quit everything and like stop everything? What made kept you going?
Uh, because it's tough, But so when I was in high school, um, it wasn't looking like I was gonna make varsity on my team. I was like a year younger than everyone in my grade in high school. I was kind of a late bloomer, and it looked like I wasn't gonna make varsity as a junior. Which I don't know if you know how in America it's like there's 4 years of high school,
Yeah.
and usually there's like a JV team and then a varsity team. Um, So I actually transferred high schools. I switched high school. I went to a different high school because my dad kind of had a vision for me. He saw my potential, my dad, and he pushed me to make that confidence. I grew into my body, and and that was great. And then I mean, in college, like, it also was ups and downs for me. Like, I had some injuries.
Mhm.
My coach at times, didn't believe in me, and at times I thought about transferring colleges, but I stuck it out. And I think the thing and then in Israel it was the same thing. I was like, nah, I can't go out like this. I'm coming back. And then I went to Ashkelon, and Ashkelon was having some financial troubles, and then I ended up leaving. But I mean, what kept me from quitting was just my love for the game. That's all it is. Like, you know, I live, I breathe, I eat
Yeah.
basketball. I like when I lay my head down on the pillow at night, like I'm thinking about basketball. So we're 4 years removed, and I still play. I still take it serious. I still train. And I'm not playing for any professional teams, but I have a social media presence and things like that. And I'm always ready. I'm always ready to hoop.
Yes.
And yeah, I don't think I'm never gonna quit. I'm never gonna put the ball down because it's the habits I've created, the lifestyle that I just live, as a hooper. And at the end of the day, it just comes down to the love of the game.
So it's something I think most of players go to where they have like a coach who don't believe in them or like struggles. Everyone gets struggles in the game. So what is the best tip you can give like to a 14, 15-year-old kid who's trying to make it?
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing would be like, yeah, exactly. You're always gonna have like, this kid over you. You just have to figure out a way to separate yourself. So you really have to know yourself. You really have to reflect on what you're good at, what you're bad at. Like, if this kid is a better shooter than you, like a lot better, it's like you're not going to be able to become a better shooter than him in the next month. So it's like,
Mhm.
what else can you do? Like, are you diving for every loose ball? Are you getting those offensive rebounds? Are you coming in first place in those sprints? These are the things that can, you develop winning plays, and then your coach, and also, obviously playing defense. A lot
Yeah.
of that is effort and will, and those and coaches want to win. So
Yes.
that's a difference maker. That's one of the biggest difference makers out there. Um, but I also say that I was in situations where the coach wanted to play this other person over me. Uh, you know, and I took it, as a challenge, so I would guard them in
Yeah.
practice on purpose and
Yeah.
compete with them and make it hard for them. Because at the same, like, you are making them better too. But just show, like, it's all about your positive attitude. Um, and then I would just say, like, outworking everybody. So, be the first one in the gym, the last one. I know that people say that all the time because there are going to be players that are better than you all the time, no matter what, no matter who you are. So you got to find a way to separate yourself and outwork everybody.
Yeah. So fast forward to I think it was 2 years ago. You were part of the squad that overtime sent to the All Star at Charlotte, right? What was
Yeah,
for you the best experience from there?
from All Star Weekend in Charlotte, it was probably seeing Dwayne Wade. I met D Wade a few months earlier, and we played basketball together. I grew up in South Florida, so he was like,
The
he played
hero.
for the Heat. He was the hero. So, and I ran into him on All Star Weekend, and he remembered me, and it just meant a lot. And it's just cool being so close to the game. Growing up, I was obsessed with All Star Week. I'm a little less obsessed with like All Star Weekend, but just to be there and see what really is going on and be so close to the players in the game, I meant it really meant a lot. And it's really cool to get that access through my job.
So take me back to when was your first dunk?
Um, my first dunk, I was like maybe 16, like barely dunking. I didn't really start like dunking consistently until I was like 18 in college. Like I said, I was a late bloomer. I actually had a lot of injuries in high school. I broke a bone like literally every year. Like I don't know what was going on, but I like eighth grade, ninth grade, 10th grade, and 11th grade, I had broken a bone, and most of those were like my feet, my ankles. So I was always coming back from an injury. So I'm not sure, like, maybe I would have been dunking better earlier on if I wasn't getting injured. But I mean, we'll never know. My senior year, I stayed healthy, and I've been staying a lot healthier since. So my freshman year of college, I really started dunking a lot better. Every inch counts, and it's definitely been a challenge to maintain the bounce for now. Almost 10, about pretty much 10 years I've been
Yeah.
dunking. So
You had talking about dunking. You had a video that was featured on ESPN, right? Tell me the story of how this thing went.
yes, that's actually a crazy story. You're saying the one that I got on ESPN,
Yeah.
like, because I never know when I'm going to catch a highlight like that. So I uh, I caught a putback dunk on this guy's like back basically, and he was a really nice guy. He was a good sport. And come to find out, he worked at ESPN. This guy, so he told his coworkers that he got dunked on, and then they found the video on my page, and they started posting it like everywhere on ESPN. So it was on like all the TV shows. It was on SportsCenter Top 10. It was like everywhere because they were kind of trying to embarrass their coworker. So it's just a crazy story. That stuff city. That's why it's the greatest city in the world. But you know, uh, really cool story.
What
I think I still got a couple more highlights in me once I get back playing.
uh,
Once this coronavirus thing is over with, man, I miss playing basketball.
what was the craziest dunk you ever had? Like,
I mean, that's definitely up there. I mean, I definitely had some poster dunks that aren't on film that I wish I had. There's a couple I could think of in my head. Just playing pickup. I had another in that same gym that I caught that putback dunk. I had another dunk on someone. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, like I'm not the best in-game dunker. Like I don't have like it's tough. I can't palm the ball. Like I need to have like enough spacing and enough
uh,
time to really launch off that launch pad. So, just getting fast break dunks, that's hopefully I got some more dunks, in
uh,
the near future in games. Maybe I can catch a serious highlight soon.
so you have a lot of interaction with like NBA players or big time guys. What was like your favorite one? Like besides the Wayne Wade, which is
Yeah, D Wade was definitely my favorite because it was like there was like 3 to 4 different times we met, and it was just more personal. But I'd say the next best was Giannis Antetokounmpo. Basically, I got to fly out to Athens, Greece, where he grew up, because literally a year ago today, basically we were in Greece, and um, he was launching his first signature shoe, the Nike Zoom Freak ones, and I got to go out and host this, and just got to talk to them a little bit, test out the shoes, and I got to talk to Giannis and get to know him, and it was just cool because he knew all about overtime. He watched some overtime content, so it was just dope, that he watched it and I got to meet him, and he's super down to earth. You would not think he was just the MVP of the NBA because it was just like talking to a normal guy. You know what I mean? And that's what I like the most about him. And he's so family oriented and such a hard worker. And he's going to be one of the best
uh,
basketball players ever when it's all said and done.
so throwing me back a little bit to when we had a tragic death of one of my favorite players, one of the favorite players in the world. You had like, did you grow up watching Kobe and like how that the death of him affected you?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Like honestly, there aren't too many days that go by that I don't think about Kobe. Um, he had a huge impact on me. Um, growing up, I started liking basketball in the early 2000s, which is when, Kobe won his first 3 championships with Shaq, and he was really just larger than life, very comparable to Michael Jordan. So he was like the Michael Jordan of my generation.
Yeah.
And then later on, his work ethic, his mentality, you know, that inspired me more than anything. So a lot of times, like as a basketball player, I mean, of course, like I'm studying his moves and I'm trying to emulate what he's doing, but more so it was like what he stood for, as a person with his work ethic. Like I know, when I was trying to play professionally and stuff like that, like my mind would always think, oh, get more reps up. So like that crazy mentality that you have to be successful. Um, you know, I definitely tried my best to emulate Kobe, and he kept me fueled and motivated for so many years and still does. And it's really tragic. Gigi and everyone else that was on the helicopter, it's really really tragic. So it's really heartbreaking, and yeah, I mean things just they haven't been the same since.
Yeah.
Pretty heartbreaking. I mean very heartbreaking, and but I can't explain like how much he meant to me. I still watch his highlights and I'm just like, damn, man. Like,
Yeah. That's
he
perfect.
was just so good,
That's good.
so technical, so fundamental. You know, I love breaking down his moves and his skills, and he'll forever live on. You know, as a basketball icon, a basketball legend. You know, and he'll never be forgotten. And you know, I definitely got to buy some more Kobe sneakers.
Yeah.
You know, I have a pretty good collection. I definitely want some more. I know they're going to start releasing more, so you know he's going to live on, and so will Gigi as well. You know, Gigi was already making major moves in women's basketball, and she was so young. So you know, we'll never forget about them.
Yeah. So you talked about you need to cop more Kobe's. So talking about shoes, what are your top five favorite sneakers?
Of all time,
Yeah. All time.
oh wow, putting me on the spot. This is tough. Love the Jordan 11s, the Concords. I have a pair of Concords. They're arguably my favorite sneakers I've ever owned. I'd say Jordan 1s are definitely in the top five. They're just clean and just some of the dopest shoes.
Yeah.
Now I gotta go with basketball shoes. This is tough. Um, damn, this is tough. I'm trying to think of like what my favorite basketball shoes of all time are. I'm trying to think which Kobe's that I have. The Kobe sixes. Hold on. Yeah, the Kobe. So Kobe sixes. Some of my favorite ones. The Grinch colorway was so dope with these. I never got a pair, but I had a
Nice.
different colorway. So that's three. I'm trying to think. All right. I mean, I could just say I think it's what the Kyrie ones were really dope. Let me see. Was it the
Did
Kyrie
you
ones?
did you got to
No,
hoop?
yeah, the Kyrie ones were really. I love the Kyrie ones. I had like two different pairs of those
Yeah.
when I moved to Israel. I played in those, and then the last pair I'll say, um, I'm just gonna go with my current favorite basketball shoe, and that's a Jordan 34. That's you know with
That's the
Zion and
Zion
Jason.
shoes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jason Tatum wears them.
Yeah.
They're really a great shoe, and I don't usually hoop in Jordans like that, but these ones are really dope. So I would
Yeah.
definitely
That's good.
recommend those to all the hoopers out there.
Yeah. So I want to thank you for coming on. We're gonna cut it short. I will be happy to have you again. Great to talking to you.
No,
Uh,
yeah, appreciate it, man. This was fun.
Thanks,
Hope
bro.
you guys are, you know, staying safe in Israel.
Yeah. Definitely.
You know, maybe next time I come to Israel, we can do a
Yeah.
podcast in
Yeah.
person. That'd be dope. I'll ask you one question before we leave. What is Denny Avdija? When is he gonna get drafted?
I
Top five pick?
Okay. Okay. This is really tough because I live in Israel and I'm supposed to say, yeah, he's gonna go number one, but I really think like he have Lamelo Ball and Anthony Edwards and like a few more before him, but I really think he will be a lottery pick. He will definitely be in the top 10. Like,
Yeah, I think if he's not in the top 10, it's a mistake. I
yeah,
think he's a huge talent. I think like you know I got to meet him in person. He's really 6'10", like he's
yeah,
really tall. He's so athletic. He has such a good feel for the game. He's a great passer. He's perfect for the NBA today because he can play the three, the four, and the five. You know, he could play small ball five. He's proven that he's good protecting the rim.
you think Yamadar is going to make it to the NBA this year?
It's really a shame that he didn't get to play like this. You know, usually there's a summer league right now in July.
Yeah,
I think Yam would have gotten a good shot in the summer league and he would have been able to prove himself. Um, I don't know if he'll go drafted. I think maybe he'll get picked up by a team. Maybe he can get in the G League. But I'm definitely excited for him. He's really made strides this year.
yeah,
You know, in the beginning of the year, he was like a real solid player, and now he's shown that he's an elite player already. You know, he scored like his career highs back to back weeks or whatever it was recently. So
yeah. I saw that.
I love Yam and Denny. I'm super proud of them, and you know they're putting Jewish Israeli basketball players on the map.
Yeah,
So you know definitely
that's dope.
supporting them and everything they do. But appreciate you, my guy. We'll definitely talk soon. Thanks
Thanks
for
for coming
having
on,
me.
bro.